morning, dear students. Welcome back once again to my dear students of class 7. It's been quite some time that we haven't had classes. I hope you have all done your test well. Maybe in a few days from now, we'll be having the results out as well. So, whatever lessons you have done in your previous classes, please make sure that you revise them well. And whatever assignments are given to you as well, make sure you do all the assignments. It's very important. Read the lesson thoroughly and then do the assignments. Today we do a new chapter, dear students, and that is energy and power resources. So I do hope that you will have your textbooks open. Chapter number 7, page 69. Is the starting of this chapter, that is energy and power resources. Now, as we know that in today's world, energy plays a very, very important role. We have become so dependent on energy that without the energy resources, we more or less are unable to do our day-to-day activities. We are so much dependent on the energy resources. Now, we know that basically there are two types of resources. One is the conventional source of resources. Conventional or non-renewable source of energy. Like for instance, we have the coal. It's a non-renewable. We can't use it again and again. Petroleum. Petroleum is also an example of a non-renewable source of energy. We can't use petroleum again and again. Once you consume the petroleum, once you have used petroleum, you cannot use it. Even natural gas, you see. Once you have used the natural gas, you can't use that same gas again and again. It gets exhausted, it gets over. So these are called as conventional source of energy. Conventional source of energy. Then we also have what is called as non-conventional or renewable source of energy. Now the non-conventional or renewable source of energy are those energy which we can use again and again and again. For instance, wind energy. See, wind energy we can use again and again. Solar energy. Solar energy is also an example of a renewable source of energy. We can use it again and again. It will never finish. Water resource, water energy, that is also an example of a renewable source of energy. So there are renewable source of energy which we can use again and again, and non-renewable source of energy which we cannot use again and again. So let's just read this. Energy is constantly required both for individuals and industrial level. This energy is required for heating, ventilating, air conditioning, etc. That means energy is required for so many things. For power generation, for heating, for ventilation, for air conditioners, for refrigerators, see, for televisions, see, to light the bulb at your homes. For all that we require energy. Industries require primary and secondary energy source for production of manufacturing of goods and transportation. The conventional or non-renewable energy industry comprises petroleum, gas and coal. These energy get exhausted after every use and cannot be replenished within a short span of time. That means if you have used coal, if you have used petroleum, if you have used natural gas, it gets exhausted. And then it takes a long, millions of years again for it to get formed. See? New energies or renewable energy or non-conventional source industry comprises manufacturing and distribution of alternate energy sources like hydroelectricity, wind power, solar power, tides, nuclear power, etc. They are sustainable in nature with the exception of nuclear fuels. The non-conventional source of energy are inexhaustible and do not cause any pollutions. That means I just said it. conventional source of energy like coal, petroleum, natural gas. And also, if you see non-conventional source of energy like renewable energy like water, water, solar, wind, tides. These all generate electricity, and these electricities are used for our day-to-day activities. It's used in the industries. It's used for manufacturing. See, it's used for air conditioning. It's used for heating. It's used for ventilation. It's used for generating power. See. So it's used for so many aspects. So you can see here we have conventional source of energy and non-conventional source of energy. Now let's see this chart here. Energy resource can be broadly classified as follows. So we can classify the energy resource into broad aspects. I'm making it very simple for you now. See, this is the energy resource. In this side we have the conventional source of energy. Conventional source of energy, which are non-renewable. See, non-renewable source of energy. And this side we have the non-conventional source of energy or the renewable source of energy. Now what are the conventional source of energy? What are the examples of non-renewable energy which we cannot use again and again? Which are the energies which cannot be used again and again? They are fuels like coal, oil, natural gas and nuclear fuels. So coal cannot be used again and again. Natural gas, petroleum, to some extent even nuclear fuels. So these are the conventional source of energy which once we use them cannot be used again and again. They get exhausted, and then again it takes millions of years again for coal to form, millions of years again for natural gas to form. So therefore they are called as the non-renewable source of energy or conventional source of energy. Now if you see here, here we have the non-conventional source of energy or renewable source of energy. That means they can be renewed again and again. We can use them again and again. What are the examples? Sunlight, solar energy, wind energy, waves, tides, tide energies from the earth, energy from the earth's core, hydroelectricity, that is water power. All these can be used again and again and again, and therefore they are termed as renewable source of energy. So please keep in mind, here we have the non-renewable source of energy like coal, petroleum, natural gas, and then we have here renewable source of energy like sunlight, sun energy, wind, waves, tides, energy from the earth's core, hydroelectricity. These are the renewable source of energy which we can use again and again and again. Now let's see the sources of energy. According to its nature, energy can be classified into two groups, primary and secondary. So we can classify energy into two groups, the primary group and the secondary group. Now which are the energy which comes under the primary group? Under the primary group, we have the energies which are found in nature. The energies which we get derived or which we get from nature are called as primary source of energy. Example, wind we get from nature, water, solar, wood, coal, oil and nuclear. These are called the primary source of energy because we get it from the nature. The second one we have is the secondary source of energy. Now this secondary source of energy is basically extracted from the primary source. The secondary source of energy is basically derived from the primary source. They are obtained from primary sources like electricity, gas, etc. That means the secondary source of energy, examples electricity and gas, are derived, are obtained, are extracted from the primary source. So these are the two sources, primary source and secondary source. Now let's see the types of energy resources. This is a very short chapter, so I do hope you will do it well as well. Please pay attention as well, and whatever assignments are given to you in the next class, please do it well. Okay, so let's come now further types of energy resources. There are different types of energy sources. The commonly used source of power are coal, petroleum and natural gas. They are referred to as fossil fuel. They are also called as non-renewable source of energy. See? Non-renewable source of energy or conventional source of energy. Why? Because they cannot be used again and again. Once we use them, they get exhausted. They get over. Therefore, they are called as non-renewable source of energy. And the examples are, see, coal, petroleum and natural gas. Okay, now let's go further and see what are these in detail. Now let's see the first one, coal. Coal, as I told you, is basically an energy which is derived from the rocks. But this is a non-renewable source of energy. Once we use this coal, once we use certain amount of coal, that coal gets exhausted, it turns into ash. See? Therefore, let's see this. Coal is the largest source of energy for the generation of electricity worldwide. It is formed by the decay and decomposition of plants. That this coal is formed by the decay and decomposition of plants under the ground, deep under the ground, which took millions of years to form. That means coal basically formed when the plants decayed deep under the ground for millions of years. And because of the tremendous heat and pressure, they got burnt up and they turned into sedimentary rocks, which later on, let's say, formed into what we call as coal. So let's see. Coal is the largest source of energy from the generation of electricity worldwide. It is formed by the decay and decomposition of plants that have remained buried for millions of years in swampy regions. Under tremendous heat and pressure, they have been converted into sedimentary rocks called coal. Example we have is anthracite, bituminous, lignite and peat. Now the quality of the coal is judged by its carbon content. The more the carbon content, better and so on. So see, anthracite, bituminous, lignite and peat. But coal is one of the largest worldwide anthropogenic source of carbon dioxide releases. Coal adds a tremendous amount of carbon dioxide in the environment when we burn this. So coal is an example of a non-renewable source of energy which we cannot use again and again. And coal is basically formed when the plants were submerged deep under the ground millions of years ago. And these plants that were submerged under the ground for millions of years underwent tremendous amount of heat and pressure. And because of the heat and pressure, these plants were compressed, they were burnt up, and then they ultimately formed into what is called as coal. So that is how we get coal, the first example of a non-renewable source. Second one we have is petroleum. Petroleum, the word petroleum is derived from two Latin words, petro meaning rocks and oleum meaning oil. Therefore, petroleum is said to be a rock oil. An oil extracted from the rocks. It is also called as a black gold. See? Liquid gold, sorry. It's also called as liquid gold. A black gold, a liquid gold, because of its versatile use. Because of its versatile ability to generate power. Okay, so here we can see. The term petroleum is derived from two Latin words, petro meaning rocks and oleum meaning oil. It is also called liquid gold and it is a very versatile mineral oil. This is a fossil fuel formed in between the sedimentary rocks formed by the decay of animals and plants, organisms trapped within them. Even like the coal formed because the plants were submerged under the ground and under tremendous heat and pressure turned into coal. Similarly, petroleum also basically was formed from the plants and animals that got, compressed, that remained buried under the ground for millions of years. And when these plants and animals were buried under the ground for millions of years, and because of the high pressure and heat, what happened? They formed into what is called as liquid. They formed into liquid mineral, liquid oil, which later on was termed as petroleum. So it says, This is a fossil fuel formed in between sedimentary rocks, formed by the decay of animals and plants organisms trapped within them. That means when the plants and animals were submerged under the ground, and because of tremendous heat and pressure, they were squeezed, they were compressed, and liquids started to get extracted from these rocks, whereby they were termed as what we say as petroleum. So that's how petroleum is basically extracted. You can see there, the oil extraction, the natural gas, very, very important for us, coal. You can see the energy consumption in India. Though it may not be very clear, see the majority of the consumption of energy here is coal. Majority of the energy consumption in India is coal. Then we have, next one is petroleum. See, petroleum, this is petroleum. Then we have what is called as here, non-conventional source of energy. A non-conventional source of energy. That is renewable source of energy. Sunlight, wind, and so on. And then here we have is natural gas. Natural gas. Okay. And this one is electricity. So here, the major source of energy in India is derived from the coal. Now let's see the next, third example of a conventional source of energy, which is a non-renewable source of energy, which we can't use again and again. Natural gas is a fossil fuel used for heating, cooking, and electric generation. It is also used as fuel for vehicles and as a raw material in the manufacturing of plastics and other commercially important organic chemical. So natural gas is also very, very important. So you can see it. See here, natural gas. This is an example of natural gas. It's used for so many purposes. Now this gas also is found deep under the ground. And it's found just above the crude oil. In the area where we have plenty of crude oil, where petroleum is found, just above that we have the gas that is found. That gas is called as a natural gas, which is extracted first. And that natural gas is used for generation of power. So that's how natural gas is found also deep under the ground. Now let's see the next one, that is renewable source of energy. Now renewable source of energy are those energy which we can use again and again and again. They don't get exhausted. They don't finish. We can use it again and again. Energy collected from resources which are naturally replenished, such as sunlight, wind, rain, tides, waves, and geothermal heat are called renewable source of energy. That means renewable source of energy can be used again and again and again and again. They don't finish. Examples are wind energy, solar energy, tidal energy, geothermal energy, even the hydroelectricity. Renewable energy is required in 4 important areas: electricity generation, air and water heating, cooling, transportation, and rural energy service. Renewable source of energy is becoming very important in today's world. See, one of the best ways to save whatever little bit of energy we have, that is coal, petroleum, or natural gas, is by starting to use more and more of these renewable sources of energy. If we start to use more and more of this renewable source of energy, then we have the conventional source of energy like coal, petroleum, and natural gas stored for a longer period of time, so that we can use it for future as well. Now let's see the first example of a renewable source of energy, that is solar power. Solar power is one of the most popular and fastest growing source of alternate energy. Photovoltaic technology is used to convert sun's energy into electricity. That means solar energy is becoming very popular. And this energy is used in generating electricity. The photovoltaic technology are used to convert the sun's energy into electricity. And that is how we can use it for so many purposes. Heating the light at your homes, used for boiling water, cooking, and so on. So even for use for vehicles, transportation as well, solar energy. Second one is biomass. the decomposed organic materials. When they are decomposed in a pit, and when that gas is extracted out, it can be used for various purposes like cooking and heating and so on. So see, the most widely used form of renewable energy is biomass. Biomass simply refers to the use of organic materials and converting them into other forms of energy that can be used. Wood has been used for centuries. That means biomass is basically using organic matters, decayed matters, animal waste. See, wood, all of that can be used after they are decomposed, the gas is extracted out, and that gas is used for generation of electricity, used for cooking and so on. That is biomass. Third one is wind power. This wind power is also very, very important. The term wind power or wind energy describes the process by which the wind is used to generate mechanical power and transform to electricity. Wind power captures the natural wind in our atmosphere and converts it into energy. That means, like the solar energy, wind also is a natural energy which we can use again and again, and whereby the energy, the wind that is flowing in the environment is trapped, and that is converted to energy. That is converted whereby it gives us electricity. That means the mechanical power. See, mechanical power is transformed into electricity. That means whatever wind energy is there, that wind energy is used to turn the turbine, and that turbine generates what is it? Electricity. And this electricity can be used for so many purposes. See here, solar power, solar panels. It absorbs heat and converts into electricity. See, windmills. See, these huge blades turn the turbine, generating electricity. Biomass. The organic matters are all decomposed, and the gas that's released out generates electricity. Now let's see the next one, that is tidal power. Tidal power is also a renewable source of energy which we can use again and again and again. It doesn't finish. Similar to the wind power, tidal power is considered to be a very prominent source of renewable energy because tides are steady and predictable. Tidal energy is a form of hydropower that converts the energy of the tides into electricity or other useful forms of power. That means when the water level rises in the sea coast, the water level rises, again it sinks. See, it goes on happening, rising and sinking twice a day, twice in 24 hours. So when the water level rises up and sinks down, at that time the water energy is used to generate electricity. See? That's how tidal energy takes place. Tidal energy is also used to generate hydroelectricity. Because whatever installation that is taking place, whatever machines you install in the water, the winds, the blade, the fans that you install under the water, the fans are turned. And when these fans are turned by the pressure of the water, it generates electricity. Next one, let's see hydrothermal power. Hydrothermal power refers to the production of electrical power through the use of force of flowing water. Electricity generated by hydropower is termed as hydroelectricity. This is possible by building dams across rivers. More the water generated, greater the electricity generated, which is produced by spinning the turbine. You can see here, see, this is the high tidal power. We can see the fans installed under the water. So when the water level rises up, these fans are turned. And as these fans are turned, it generates electricity, or the turbines are charged up, whereby electricity is generated. That's one form, example tidal. If you see here, the hydropower, see here, the water that is stored behind the dam can be used for generating hydroelectricity. So for instance, you can see here, the water passes through this, it turns this turbine, it turns the fan here, and this turbine is charged, whereby it generates electricity. And this electricity is sent to the homes. So that is how the tidal energy, the hydro energy are used for generating hydroelectricity. We can see some projects in our country See, Bhakranagal project is found in Sutlej, is found in Himachal Pradesh. If you see the other projects, like for instance, Narmada Valley project, see, it's found in River Narmada in Gujarat. If you see the third one is Indra Sagar, found in River Narmada in Madhya Pradesh. Then we have Nagarjuna Sagar, it's found in Krishna River and is found in the states of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. Similarly, Hirakud is found in Mahanadi in Odisha. See, Madhuband, Dhakri, Sutlej, Himachal Pradesh. Then we have Koyna hydroelectricity, it's found in Koyna in Maharashtra. Then Srisailam project, hydroelectricity, electric, Krishna River, found in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. And then we have the last one here, that is the last one, just make some corrections here. Teri hydropower is found in Bhagirathi River and is found in Uttarakhand. Okay, it's found in Uttarakhand. So these are the hydro projects which are found in the country. Some of them along with the rivers where it's located and the state that it's present in. Now let's see the last one, that is the conservation of energy and power resources. We use energy faster than it is produced. Most of the energy source we use cannot be raised or renewed. Non-renewable energy constitutes 80% of the fuel used. Coal, oil and natural gas are the most utilized source that takes thousands of years to form. In a few decades from now, it is estimated that the energy will be exhausted. Hence, we need to conserve energy. The conventional source of energy like coal, petroleum and natural gas have been used for centuries. And at the rate in which we are using this energy, a day will come when these energy will get exhausted. So what do we do? So at that time, the other option is using renewable source of energy, non-conventional source of energy. That means once the conventional source of energy like coal, petroleum and coal starts to get exhausted, we can use the non-conventional source of energy or the renewable source of energy, like for instance wind energy, solar energy, tidal energy, water energy and so on, can be used to generate electricity. And that is one way in which we can conserve electricity as well, in which we can conserve the conventional source of energy. This is also one way in which we can make our source of energy last for longer duration. Let's see. The depletion, can I continue from here? The depletion also comes at the cost of impacting life on Mother Earth. The primary objectives of energy conservation is to reduce demand by efficient utilization of resources, protect and replenish supplies, develop and use alternate energy sources, and to clean up the damage from the prior energy process. That means one of the best ways to conserve energy is by shifting towards the non-conventional source of energy, or using more of renewable source of energy like sunlight, water energy, wind energy, tidal energy. We have to start using more of this energy so that whatever little source of energy we have like coal, petroleum and natural gas, we can preserve it for future. Even the other way is also by minimizing the amount of energy we use. We should not waste energy. Whatever is required for us, only that amount of energy should be utilized. We should be very careful in how we utilize energy. We should not waste energy. And if we start doing this also, what happens? We can keep the energy lasted for a longer duration. So this is how we can conserve the energy that we have in our world. So as I told you, this is a very short chapter, dear students. And this is the end of the chapter. I do hope that you have paid attention to my lesson. Please do read at home and go through the lesson, and then we'll meet in the next